Kenzie Rowland and Andrew Woodman embarked on a project to challenge stigma surrounding mental health and rechart its discourse.
Yeah, the elevator pitch for Margot and Wooly is what would happen if your deep down emotions were embodied in the form of a puppet that everybody can see and hear.
Essentially what I am is a conduit to what she's feeling.
Oh, dope. So, like a microphone attached to the brain.
More like a megaphone.
To share this vision, Kenzie and Andrew made Margot and Wooly, a short production by the Rowland Woodman duo. In speaking about her creative journey, Kenzie opened up about the complexities of grappling with mental health challenges.
I based it off of my OCD and trauma voice years ago, before I knew I even had that. So the way that I would describe my anxiety to people would be, I feel like I have this puppet that just follows me around and is nagging me like all of the time. A lot of times on television, media, movies, anything that you're watching that centers around a mental health person or has a mental health illness in the show, it's usually like, laid up in a hospital bed, they can't function, they're sometimes even the bad guy. So I had the idea of, why not make a television show that centers around somebody who deals with mental health issues.
She recalls a specific instance that nearly stopped her and her husband in their tracks.
So a big major setback that most people probably don't plan for is that right after we had filmed the short, we lost everything in an apartment fire. So we lost our puppet, we lost all of our belongings and our home. But my husband actually, bravely and stupidly, ran back in and saved the hard drive.
Andrew says he acted instinctively.
Before I knew it, I was running up the stairs and busted in. Luckily at that point there was no fire or smoke or anything, and I was able to just rip everything out of the wall and bolt out of there. And because it was kind of like that child, you're like, this is my thing that I've been working on, that we've been working on for so long, and it was like, I have to grab this. So
for Andrew and Kenzie, their whole life was in that apartment, and the fire was a wake-up call.
Funny things happen when you lose absolutely everything and you don't know what to do, and the world's kind of open and closed at the same time. Everywhere you go, you're a visitor, and you don't really have a sense of foundation.
By Andrew saving the drive, the couple turned their existential experience into motivation and a reason to cling on to the one thing that endured and survived that fire with them.
We had this. So, my husband, again, I joked that it was stupid, but it was also very brave of him to go back in there, because he was like, we couldn't let us die in the fire too. Those were his exact words. We couldn't let us die. We had this really warm thing that we could go look at. It was just ours for a really long time. We didn't tell anybody about it.
The couple says there was one thing that fueled their motivation the most: their commitment to changing the conversation around mental health.
A stubbornness. We just really believe in it. I know that sounds crazy, but it's just something we truly believe in. Right. We think that this is something that could really help people. I think the conversation of mental health needs to be revisited in standard everyday media, and we think this is a way to do it.
I was so adamant about how this thing would look, how this thing would flow, where I just didn't want it to feel low budget. Basically, when you shoot stuff, you kind of have a moment of grieving when you're in the edit, because you're like, oh man, this is not how I thought it would turn out, from script to screen. And I just didn't want to have that grieving process. I was like, I didn't want to give anything up.
It took Kenzie and Andrew 8 years to complete their short film. During that time, the couple encountered occasional setbacks. Through it all, they remained steadfast in their pursuit and passionate about their mission.
The difficulty is probably just finding time for it. So when you're an independent filmmaker, you have 8 jobs, right? I mean, none of us are just able to be creatives full time. Yeah. So you're working your day job, your side job, this job, another creative endeavor. And so you're juggling as much as you possibly can. You don't really just get to only focus on this.
It's a weird, when it's yours, it can take as long as it wants. And sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. So it's one of the lessons that I kind of had to learn, even from the building of the puppet to the building of the elevator set that we did, to editing the project, learning how to stay motivated to keep it going, even though it was a lot of work, and it was very kind of mentally taxing, emotionally taxing, doing all those things. The biggest thing for me was that I was trying to keep momentum with every single step, so that way we didn't lose that kind of we still have to make it.
But really fighting for something you believe in creatively is rewarding in and of itself. I mean, art is work to be done, and that's what creatives are here to do. But I would say the easiest part of it was probably just working on it with my husband, working on it with Andrew. That was very easy. That's something that we enjoy doing together. So if we didn't enjoy it, we wouldn't have kept going. We were surprised that it ended up being exactly what we'd hoped it was going to be. Awesome. So that was a nice surprise. Sometimes when you have an idea in your head and you go to film it and you watch it and you're like, oh my God, that is not it. And so from there, we created the short. That's making its rounds in the film festival circuit right now. So it is a proof of concept.
As they bask in the glow of their film success, Kenzie, Andrew, and Wooly stand as proof that from the ashes of tragedy, new beginnings can emerge. And that with passion, perseverance, and a touch of stubbornness, you can make an idea into reality and make your dreams come true. From Atlanta, Georgia, this is Paula Valero with GSUTV.
Well, wasn't our worst elevator pitch.
You've got to stop calling them that. But yeah, it wasn't our worst.